So what if I told you that all your psychological suffering, the stress, the anxiety, the frustration, what if it was all optional? That is the huge, radical idea behind Joseph Nenwan's book, Don't Believe Everything You Think. Today, we're going to break down its core principles and really see if we can end our own suffering. I'm really excited for this one, so let's just dive right in.
Okay, first things first, we have to draw a really important line in the sand. See, the entire idea here hinges on one massive distinction between two things that we almost always mash together: the pain we experience and the suffering we create.
There's this concept in Buddhism called the second arrow. The first arrow is the painful event itself. Getting laid off, going through a breakup, making a big mistake. That part, that's often just life. It's unavoidable. But the second arrow, that's our reaction. It's the story we tell ourselves about it, the judgment, the anger we pile on top. And that second arrow, the suffering, that's the part that's actually optional.
Okay, so that brings up a pretty big question, right? If we could just choose not to suffer, wouldn't we all do it? Why does it feel so automatic, so out of our control? Well, the book's answer is fascinating. It's because we've been completely misdiagnosing the cause of our unhappiness our entire lives. So what is this misdiagnosis? We're about to challenge a fundamental belief that most of us have about where our feelings even come from.
You know how it is. We're taught to look outside ourselves. My boss made me angry. This traffic is stressing me out. If I just had more money, then I'd be happy. We point to all these external things as the source of how we feel inside. But what if that's just completely backwards?
Well, here's a simple example that pretty much demolishes that whole idea. Imagine two people sitting in the exact same coffee shop. Same coffee, same background noise. One person is just peacefully watching the world go by, totally content. The other person is having a full-on existential crisis. The external reality is identical for both of them. So, what gives? What's the real variable here?
And this, right here, this is the central idea of the entire book. The variable isn't the coffee shop. It's the act of thinking. It's the judgment, the analysis, the story we spin. That conscious, effortful engagement with our thoughts, that is the real culprit behind all of our suffering.
Okay, this next part is maybe the most critical piece of the whole puzzle, so you're going to want to lean in for this. We have to separate the idea of having a thought from the act of thinking. They sound similar, but it turns out they are two completely different things.
All right, let's try a little experiment together, right now. What's your dream annual income? Don't overthink it. Just let a number pop into your head. Got it? Okay, that number, the one that just appeared, effortlessly, out of nowhere, that was a thought. Now notice what probably happened right after that number appeared. Did another voice jump in? Yeah, right, that's impossible. Or, who am I to want that much? Or, how would I ever make that happen? That process, the judging, the doubting, the analyzing, that is thinking. You feel the difference?
The key difference really just comes down to the feeling of it. A thought just arrives, it feels light, creative, kind of expansive. But thinking is what our ego does to that thought, and it feels heavy, restrictive, and honestly, a lot of the time, it's pretty destructive. The feeling itself is the ultimate clue. One feels like a spark, the other feels like a weight.
So if thinking is what causes all the suffering, what happens when we're not doing it? What's our default state? The book argues it's something we've just forgotten we already possess.
I mean, think about a baby. If they're fed and warm, what's their default state? It's usually contentment, curiosity, even joy. They aren't sitting there analyzing their past mistakes or stressing about their future career. That peace, that's our factory setting. We don't need to create peace, we just need to stop covering it up with all our thinking.
So how do we get back to that clear state? The book offers this really powerful metaphor. Imagine your mind is a glass of water with a bunch of dirt swirled in it, making it all murky. Your first instinct might be to try and stir it up or filter out the dirt. But what if the best thing to do is nothing at all? You just let it be. If you simply become aware of the murkiness without fighting it, the dirt will settle all on its own, revealing the crystal clear water that was always there. Our natural clarity is always right there, just underneath all the thinking.
Now, this might sound a little abstract, but I promise you, you've already experienced this state of non-thinking. You probably just called it by another name, like being in the zone or in a state of flow.
I absolutely love this quote from James Clear because it just nails it. Anxiety is thought without control. Flow is control without thought. Think about it. Anxiety is our thinking just running wild, totally out of control. But that amazing state of flow, where we do our absolute best work, that's what happens when the judgmental thinking mind finally gets out of the way.
You see it with an athlete in a championship game. They aren't consciously thinking, okay, now I move my left foot. They're just moving, responding, being, or an artist who's completely lost in what they're creating. In those incredible moments of peak performance, the thinking stops and we are just doing. That is the zone. That is flow.
Okay, let's wrap this all up with one final powerful story from Zen philosophy that just perfectly captures this entire idea.
The core idea here is that external events by themselves are totally neutral. They're just like empty boats floating down a river. They have no built-in power to make you feel anything.
The story goes like this. A monk is meditating in his boat when suddenly, bam, another boat bumps into him. He gets furious, starts yelling at the person he assumes is in the other boat. But when he looks over, he sees the boat is empty. It just drifted into him. And instantly, all his anger just vanishes. Poof, gone. He realizes his anger wasn't caused by the boat. It was caused by his thinking that there was some inconsiderate person inside it.
The realization is that the anger was never in the boat. It was always in the monk. And that leaves us with one last really powerful question to carry with us. What situations or people in your life are you treating like they have someone steering them when really they're just empty boats? What suffering could you let go of right now if you just stopped thinking about it?